Welcome to the WinEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacy.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We appreciate you. We're so glad you're here. It's just me today, Lacy. I am going to talk to you today about something that is happening in the news lately. Okay, Winnie, she's not here with us today, but I know she's here in spirit. So let's dive right in. I'm told there was a market crash. And what does that mean? And what's really cool about what I'm going to talk about today is although, there was a market crash yesterday. Maybe some of you have seen the effects of that. But guess what? My cash value kept growing in my life policy. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So it's interesting enough, in both becoming your own banker and farming without the bank, markets are addressed. And so I guess it can kind of all start out like the stock market was created after whole life insurance policies had already been in place for several years. And so it was a newfound place to store and grow your money, and people flocked to it. And so it comes on the heels of, kind of goes hand in hand with what Nelson talks about in his book, is on page 18, and I'm reading from the 5th edition, there's a sentence where he says, everything you do in the financial world is compared with what everyone else is doing. So if everybody's putting their money into the stock market, then of course that is what most people are going to do. And that is what seems to be the norm. And so storing your money in a life policy is not seen as norm because it's not mainstream. Not a lot of people know about it. I mean, really, Nelson only came up with this concept in 1980, so it's not very old. So then if we look again on page 36 of his book, he talks about the retirement age and how the general retirement age is 65. So we expect that, we're going to work until 65 and then we start to phase out of the workplace. But has anybody ever questioned why? Why is it age 65? And why do we start to phase out at 65? And some people choose to do it sooner. But if we're contributing to some sort of retirement plan through our employers, typically it's to age 65, or age 65 is when we start drawing government pensions. And so old age security is what it's called here in Canada. So on page 36, Nelson talks about creating the entity, and he's talking about the entity of policies. And he says, do you know where all the business of the retirement at age 65 began, or where it came from? So Franklin D. Roosevelt got it from Bismarck in Germany several years earlier. The whole idea was to get the old folks out of the workforce in order to provide jobs for the younger generations, as if there are only so many jobs to go around. A socialist mental hang-up that has no validity at all. And so that's right from Nelson's book. And so he goes on to talk about life expectancy of males in America in 1937 was 61 years old. And then now the figure is in the mid-70s, but we're still using age 65 for retirement purposes. And so you really, really do need this book to grasp everything that I'm saying. I say all that to say this. Even though there was a market crash yesterday, the cash value inside the life policies continued to grow. And I know I've heard people say this too, but I recovered. Yes, I had a dip in my investments, but I recovered. I beg to differ on that. Did you recover? Because if you hadn't experienced the loss or the setback, you would have been further ahead. So I compare it to weight loss. If I lose 10 pounds and then I gain 10 back, but I got back and then I lost it again, I got back to where I was going. Well, no, because if I would have stayed the course, I would have lost more than 10 pounds by now. So if our investments hadn't have dropped or we see a crash in them, we would have been further ahead than we were or where we are when we catch back up. So then I have highlighted on this page as well, the whole idea of the infinite banking concept started with the realization that there is a huge amount of nonsense going on in the marketplace because of a misclassification of things. So this is not new, nor is it unique to the financial world. And he goes on to talk about the conquistadors in Spain. And Nelson, I wish I would have been able to meet him. I think I would have really, really loved him just because of the analogies and what he uses, how he explains things. But if we look here, Farming Without the Bank, Chapter 10 is market scam. And so we talk about investments. So many of us are being guided to take some tax breaks or diversify by putting money into RSPs or TFSAs. As this is an option given to you by investment consultants, savvy real estate investors, and tax professionals, it does come with restrictions and consequences you may not like or may not have even considered. And then I have not read this book, but I really do want to. Rick Buter's book, The Great Wall Street Retirement Scam, is supposed to be really, really good. So the different sections that are in this chapter 10, market scam, investments, rates of return, because if you've heard anybody talk about, if you've listened to Mary Jo's podcast or if you've read either of these books, you'll know that Nelson always said, infinite banking is not about the rate of return. That's not what we're trying to accomplish here. And if that is what you're focused on, or if that is why you want to get into IBC, then IBC may not be for you because it's not about the rate of return. So in chapter 10, right after in the rates of return section, if you went to buy seed and they asked you if you wanted to pay tax on the seed or the harvest, what would you do? You would pay it on the seed, I hope, because it would be a lot less than if you had to pay it on the harvest. Yet, when we are investing in the market and we're putting our dollars into these said programs, we're paying tax on the harvest. We're doing the exact opposite of what, would we choose to pay tax on the seed or would we pay it on the harvest? So we're doing the exact opposite. We're deciding to pay on the harvest of the dollars that we're putting inside these programs to get a tax incentive on the seed. So let that sink in. So I say all that to say this. Yes, there was a market crash yesterday. Ask yourself, one, did it affect me? How did it affect me? If you have life insurance policies and you're practicing infinite banking, check your cash value. Did it keep growing? Probably. So you don't know what you don't know, and you won't know until you look further into it. So highly, highly encourage you to look outside the box. And just like Nelson said in his book, most financial decisions are made based on what everyone else is doing. But is that working for you? Is that accomplishing what you want to accomplish by age? You put it in there. What age do you want to slow down? What age do you want your children to be able to step into your operation? Is what you're doing now achieving that goal, or with market crashes, is that forcing you to stay a little bit longer and the kids not come in quite as soon as the plan is? So there's lots to consider here, guys. We really, really appreciate our listeners. Please go over and give us a 5-star review. You know what to do by now if you've listened to our podcast. We would love to hear questions, comments, feedback. We care at rancherway.com. That's how you can email us. rancherway.com. You can grab your copy of the book, Farming Without the Bank, the Canadian edition, and you can also grab Becoming Your Own Banker. I suggest getting them in a bundle because when you do, I guarantee you're going to end up reading them both and you're going to end up coming back to them several times. This is why I have all of these notes in my books. So thank you for being here, rancherway.com. We truly appreciate you. We will catch you on the next episode.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WinEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.